My name's Matthew Way, and I grew up in East Greenwich, Rhode Island, so Rhode Island native. And I think URI pharmacy, the choice just made sense. I think partly because I had friends or close friends that had gone to URI pharmacy that I knew of. And so I know that was a good program, it was nearby. And so I think that played a huge part in my decision.
Awesome. And when did you graduate again?
Oh yeah, I graduated in 2015, so not too far away or long ago, but it's been a little while.
Great. So I'm really excited to talk to you today because what you do now is pretty much my actual dream job.
Mhm.
So if you'd like to tell everybody what your current role is and then a little bit about like how you got there and like about like why you were interested in it, if you did a residency, stuff like that.
Yeah, so my current title or job is attending oncology pharmacist. Um, and my specialty is in medical oncology with a focus in lymphoma and myeloma. I have 80% of my practice is inpatient, 20% is outpatient in the lymphoma clinic. And I think I became interested in oncology during my P3 year. It's when we have our oncology module. And I had several rotations in oncology as a P4, and that consolidated my interest. And I think partly it was um, a huge emphasis in palliative care and a huge emphasis in caring for people who are just in a really tough spot, and you're able to um, care for people and life, and also care for people as they're dying. And just as much as we focus on being able to find cures, to work towards cures when that's not possible, there's some aspect of helping patients die well, of being able to be on that journey with patients, their families, their friends, and that's just incredible honor. And there's been a lot of progress, not enough, because we're always trying to do more, but it's awesome to see that we're able to make an impact for the patients that are in front of us and also for um, everyone else too. And so I think initially from the interest, I went to my PGY1 at LSU Shreveport in Louisiana, and then I did my PGY2 in oncology at Henry Ford in Detroit. And my role currently is at Mass General in Boston. And so that was my first job out of residency.
That's awesome. If you want to talk to a little about maybe like what it was like doing a residency and doing like an oncology residency or anything about that, that would be really cool too.
Yeah, so everyone's experience is different. I think that how I chose the specific programs, just because there's so many of them, is I wanted to be at a place that felt like family. And you will know that when you talk to people, when you meet people, whether or not you jive, whether or not you have that feeling or that connection. And sometimes it can be a little far-fetched to think that's even possible just because of how complex the process is, or just how many programs there are. But I think at the end of the day, when you're able to find that group of people where you feel invested, that are investing in you, that you're able to contribute to, because at the end of the day, like what makes or breaks any sort of work environment is the relationship with those around you. And if it does feel like family, I think that you're in the right place. And so I think that's what led me to Louisiana and then also in Detroit. And through the process, you really are pushed to your limits, and you sort of realize what you're capable of and what you're not capable of. You know when to ask for help, when um, even sometimes you're surprised about what you're capable of. And so in terms of oncology residency, it's a huge emphasis in disease states. Every single cancer is different. And even within a cancer, there's a lot of heterogeneity in what people experience. And so I think one of the toughest things was just being able to figure everything out, of trying to understand very complex things, and really appreciating the science and everyone who's contributed to the advances and the knowledge we have so far.
Awesome. Yeah, I've heard from a lot of people about how important it is to feel like the residency site that you're at, like feeling like a family or just going for like how you feel like you would fit in there. Like I've heard from a lot of people about that. So it's awesome to have that even stressed even more from you, because I do believe that that's something that's really important, especially like for students who want to pursue a residency. Um, Feeling like a place like where you feel like you belong and with people that are there to like lift you up and help you push you to your limits, but at the same time like also help you like learn and become like a successful pharmacist. So that was really awesome to hear about. And then so if you want to just tell us a little bit about like a day in the life kind of your current position, like some of your key responsibilities. I know you said you do inpatient 80% of the time and then outpatient 20% of the time. So maybe like a day, like talk about a little bit of both. That would be really cool.
Yeah, so in terms of what a typical day inpatient would be, is at 7:30 you would sort of catch up anything urgent or anything you need to do before rounds. You would tidy that up. Um, we round with either the lymphoma myeloma team or the solid tumor team on the inpatient side. So after tidying up stuff in the morning, you review all the patients that you're responsible for their team. So you, in the context of caring for medical oncology patients, it's, well, okay, what are their problems related to their cancer? What are the problems related to their chemotherapy? What is conditions that are directly related to it, or maybe it's just trying to take care of internal medicine problems in the medical oncology patient. So, and a lot of decisions are made in the outpatient side. So a lot of it is also going to be care coordination with the primary team and being able to liaison with medical residents, the nurses, the inpatient attending, and the outpatient team, and just have everyone on the same page. So we work up our patient census typically around 15 to 25 patients, and we would do sitting rounds from 8:30 to maybe 11. Typically just grab lunch, and afterwards we have meetings and project meetings, or just staff meetings, and time to work on projects, either administrative in nature or something that fulfills our professional interests. My professional interest is in clinical research, and so it's great to have the opportunity to work in both retrospective and prospective studies with the physician collaborators. Has been a really great opportunity in terms of having other things to do around the day. We have a lot of learners. We have a bunch of students from Northeastern, MCPHS, and now URI as well. And we also, of course, have a robust PGY1 program and also PGY2 oncology program that we support. In terms of outpatient, there's a heavy focus on patient education in terms of chemotherapy teaches and facilitating supportive care for patients as they start their treatment, as well as following up with patients post-discharge, and also reviewing the patients who've been discharged that week, just to allow for some continuity of care around those transitions. And so usually we will collaborate with both the lymphoma myeloma MDs, MPs, to be able to, in terms of the coordination piece.
That's really cool. I love how like you kind of get like a little bit of both. Like you're not just inpatient or you're not just like outpatient. Like you get to see a little bit of both. So you get to see like both sides of it, which I think is
Mhm.
like, a really cool experience to be able to do both. So I really love that. Do a lot of hospitals, like just out of curiosity, like is that how like most hospitals are? Or like is that like a specific thing for Mass Gen, or is that like
Yeah, so in terms of practice models for oncology, it varies depending on where you are in the United States. There is different practice models in terms of the degree of operational responsibilities. So there is, most large cancer centers do have a practice model where there is an inpatient outpatient rotation. Partly is because oncology is practice outpatient. Patients are only inpatient for very specific reasons. And it allows you to build a practice, build relations with patients and providers in a longitudinal way where may not necessarily be possible on the inpatient side. And so it honestly varies center to center, and ambulatory care, ambulatory practice in oncology is definitely growing. And it's something that Mass General has been actively investing in over the past years.
Awesome. Yeah, I was really curious because I wasn't sure like where most pharmacists practice, if it's one or the other, like both, or but that's really cool that you guys to experience both.
Mhm.
So then what would you say like your favorite part is about your job?
So in terms of the favorite part, I guess I have two. I think one is definitely the ability just to be there for patients during their treatment. And I'm always surprised at how how people interact with themselves, their families, and friends when they're just going through a really, really tough time. And being able to answer their questions, to provide them with the information that they do want or need, and to empower them um, is something that makes me wake up every single morning and say, hey, let's do this. I think the other piece of what I love about my job is being able to grow professionally in the context of clinical research in terms of the projects that I'm able to be a part of, the physician collaborators that I'm able to learn from and grow with. I think that has been just a huge blessing in terms of being able to grow as a clinician, but also grow in my abilities in clinical research.
That's awesome. I know like I've heard like how much of an impact like pharmacists have on like especially like oncology patients, which is like such a great thing. Like when I took oncology last semester, like I learned a lot about like really how much of an impact we do have on them and how much of an impact we can make like on their treatment and everything. So I feel like pharmacists have such like an important role, especially in oncology. So that's part of what like actually drew me to it, just being able to like really have like a role that allows me to be there and like really utilize my degree like and just get to like actually have that patient interaction, which I think is like really awesome because I love like patient interaction as well, so that's really cool. And then my last question was just, how did you or I prepare you for this role? Obviously, like we all take oncology classes, but if there's anything else that you might have done that's prepared you while you were in college, like to have like your current role.
I think you or I couldn't have done it um, at any other place in terms of just how accommodating and how supportive everyone was. Um, I think I wasn't actually not supposed to take the number of rotations in oncology I was supposed to. I think I got like a hard pass in taking like 3 onc related rotations. I don't think you can do that now. Um, I think everyone was just so supportive in uh, in terms of what I recall. So I didn't initially when I was applying for residencies, I had like I don't know 8 to 10 rejections in a row, and so it was the support of friends, classmates, of Dr. Charpentier, um, that really like, hey, let's figure out a plan. Let's figure out which residencies are still accepting applications. Let's say like, hey, like let's figure this out. And I think just the opportunities from that piece in terms of college of pharmacy, in terms of support of classmates and professors, and especially in terms of the experiential learning office, of finding experiences, but also like being extremely supportive and those opportunities. I think another piece is I think my experiences at URI was like shaped predominantly by my experience as a resident advisor. I was a freshman RA for 5 years, and I don't think that's um, even a thing anymore in terms of like someone being RA for 5 years. In terms of, but I think Jay Clement, who was my I had my area director, direct supervisor, I don't think I could have like finished the program in the way that would have prepared me not only for like pharmacy, but my personal life as well and professional life without his support and mentorship. So I think just the opportunities at URI, it's a big place, but at the same time, it's extremely small. And you're really surprised at the end of it all, how much people around you are willing to support you, are willing to really go out of their way to provide you with the tools and the resources to succeed, I guess, in the classroom and outside the classroom.
I totally agree. I feel like I've had so much support from whether it be like faculty or like friends or even like preceptors so far because I'm currently on my appy rotations. So I feel like I've really had like so much support from even like experiential learning, like so many people. So, and what you said about like Dr. Charpentier and like your conversation with her and having like the rejections, like I bet it felt like amazing to have like somebody you could turn to for like guidance, like in a situation like that, like being able to like speak to somebody about it and go through it with them and talk to them about it and see what like your other options were like going forward. So like that's so awesome. Like I don't know anywhere else where like the professors I feel care so much for their students. So I totally agree with
Definitely.
everything you said. Like everybody who I've met has been so amazing and I feel like you could probably say the same like you said inside and outside of the classroom, which is so awesome. But that's all the questions that I had for you. Did you have anything like to add at the end or anything else you wanted to say?
I would just say that URI is a special place. I think as I'm 4 years, a little less than 4 years into practice as a former pharmacist. And I think at this point of connecting with classmates and seeing where everyone is, it's really provided in a way that I don't think any of us on graduation day would have imagined. And so I'm really thankful for my experience at URI and all the people I've met and all the people I'm still sort of like walking my professional life with from that time.